Hey, buddy, welcome to this month of Staffing Monthly, the industry's only digital publication that brings you actionable insights around the topics of recruiting, sales, marketing, and leadership. And today we're actually going to be showcasing a tool that I am incredibly excited and proud to have brought to market with my partner, Steve. And it really is the cross section between recruiting performance, sales growth, and leadership because it's a tool for leadership to have better visibility and insights into the market. But before we jump into this, I just want to, welcome Steve, man. It's great to have you here and talk to this product and get to showcase it with the world, man.
Yeah, no, thank you for inviting me, Dan. I'm super excited and showing it.
Well, you're the technical genius behind this. You've taken everything I've created over the last 20 years in really fantastic, sophisticated Excel files, and you've turned it into user-friendly software that I think our early customers are absolutely loving. So if we can, I want
Mhm.
to take the audience here just on a little bit of a historic journey of where this originated, why it came about, and then bring up the dashboard, what we're really excited to launch, and then just share with you, talk to you about your experience implementing this with customers, what they're saying, and how you're engaging, and showcase the tool for those watching today, if that's cool.
Sounds good to me, boss.
So, as you know my journey. We've worked together a lot on this, but early on in staffing, when we were trying to scale, one of the biggest challenges that we faced was we lacked visibility. We didn't really know. We would set these arbitrary goals and we had no clue if they were reasonable or not. We didn't really have a clue of what it would take or not. And if we ever missed our goal, the reason why is because we didn't really know if we were on track or off track. We didn't have the right KPIs in place. So I had to create something. I had to create better visibility because I hate failing. I hate missing the mark. And I created the KPI tracker and I love this thing. It's in Excel. You've seen it.
Yeah.
You geek out on it because you get Excel like I do, but we've learned that people don't like Excel, right?
Mm-mm.
So what I'm going to do, just for the sake of the audience here looking at this, I'm just going to I'm going to share what this Excel document looks like. So if you're seeing this right here, so anytime you've heard me speak at, conferences, SIA exec forum, I often talk about strategic planning and metrics that matter and these data points that you can use to really basically calculate or determine your operational performance metrics and your sales performance metrics. And then you can use those tools to determine, are you on track with your goal or not? In a week-to-week basis, you can drill down and decide, okay, I'm not on track, but what do I need to do to fix it to increase your chance for success? And people love this. They would request this. They'd say, this is amazing. How do I get my hands on this? Because they would like to see week to week if they're red or green. Are they trending in the right direction or not? Right. And I think it's important to know, especially like if, in March or April, if you're on track to hit your goal. So this is the madness that has started. And when you first got your hands on this, you love this, right? You thought this was a pretty useful tool.
I did, but to be honest with you, man, it's intense. It's a lot. It's a
What?
lot. Yeah,
Seriously?
yeah.
You're just going to reveal that to me like on air right now. So what's intense about it? Tell me about that.
No, I mean, much like yourself, I'm a data guy, and it's logical. It makes sense to me. You come in here week to week, you pull numbers from your system. All you have to do is insert them in this row, and then it's a calculator, and it works beautifully. I know I've seen you strategically plan using this information, and it's accurate. But to somebody who may not be Excel friendly, I've come to find not everything I like, everyone else likes. It could be
That's
maybe a
fair.
little intimidating. It's not very graphically or aesthetically pleasing, I'd say.
So I get that. I do get
Yeah.
that. I do get that it's a little bit function over form for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was probably 6 months ago, maybe, with you and I were chatting about this, that we were actually revising it to improve the algorithmic quadrangulation of
Mm-hmm.
how this actually forecasts. And you were
Right.
like, man, you got to stop building in Excel. You're going to face constraints. You're going to face constraints. Let's put this into software. Like there's tools out there that we can use that will supercharge what we're even doing here and actually make it easier to use. And I reluctantly agreed. I said, okay, man, like I'm going to give you my baby. I'm going to hand this over to you. And then we did a lot of work, right? How many calls did we on?
Yeah.
How many hours did we log just trying to learn the logic behind all this?
I'm surprised you didn't get bored of me, sir. A lot.
There's a lot to it. There's a lot to
There is.
understanding. Like, are you on track or not? If you're not, how do you analyze the data? And that's where staffing dashboard came to life. I gave you this
Mhm.
tool and you went to work with development and you created this product here that looks a lot better out here. And I will let you know, just again, spoiler alert, this is not a sales pitch. If you're watching this, this is like, oh, no, I'm not. I'm really proud to bring this to market. I'm proud of the work that we did, and we just want to showcase this for anybody that could benefit from a tool like this. So, if you want to learn about forecasting and using a tool to help you better forecast and learn how to make better informed decisions with the data your staffing agency is, keep plugging in. We're gonna walk through this. So, Steve, what I want to do is I just want to talk through the components of this and then
Mhm.
get your feedback on some of the areas that you developed to showcase as a result. And then I do want to talk about how you've been implementing it with customers because right now, like you are that connection point. You deal with the leaders and owners of staffing companies to get them set up with this. So, you ready to run through this?
Let's do it, sir.
Cool. So for those watching, let me just orientate you to the board, right? So this is the first dashboard. This is essentially your home screen where you're going to start. And what this is it's taking week to week data. You're literally right now, every week, you can just manually, it takes 2 minutes, if that, to upload 6 data points, billing, margin, payroll, hours, clients, headcount, right? You put that in here and it's going to take those 6 metrics, that simple, and it's going to update what you've done year to date, and it's going to show you in real time where you're at. And it's going to use our proprietary, again, algorithmic quadrangulation. That's a mouthful, but that's what we've developed here to forecast out your business based on actual performance. So when you're on this, the first thing that we do that I love, I'm a competitive person. I want to know, where do I stand as it relates to the year? I want to know how far I have progressed my goals as it relates to how far the year has progressed, right? And in this example, you can see the blue is the year and it's 29% complete as we're sitting here talking, and the goal is only 22%. So this is reflecting a staffing agency that is falling behind a little bit. So, Steve, I want to ask you, because you had not seen this. This is something that I use as a tool, I don't know, like 10 years ago. And I first showed you this concept of like racing against time. What was your
Mhm.
first thought when you saw this piece?
I liked it because it's not something I've ever visualized or conceived before. Of course, goal tracking is inherent, not only in business. It can be personal goals, whatever it may be. But seeing it stacked up against time, it almost looked like a carnival game to me, where like you shoot in the water to make your guy go.
Yeah.
And of course, you don't want to fall behind time. Now, I know every situation's different, beginning of the year, holidays and such. But yeah, no, I think it's amazing way to kind of pace out your progress.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Like I know that seasonality comes into play, and sometimes you can make
Hmm.
up more ground, and
Hmm.
I know I often say the sooner you fall behind, the more time you have to catch up. But I do think as a leader, it's
Hmm.
important to know where are you at in the year. If you're sitting here in week 13 or 14 and this much of the year is gone, like it's important to know how much time do you actually have to make it up, right? Because
Hmm.
the narrower that window gets, the harder it gets to actually hit your goals. So I feel like it's a good frame
True.
of reference, which brings us down to the dials. And this is a design that I loved, where we quickly show you the 4 key points that make up your trajectory, your forecast, billing, payroll, margin, and headcount. All these things really need to get to, 100% of your forecast to be successful. And these dials are pretty straightforward. If it's blue, that's what you've actually realized. The orange is your forecast to the rest of the year. So you can quickly see, as it sits right now, this agency is only forecast to come in somewhere around 75% of their revenue goal, right? That's no good. You can also see that the pay is kind of close, but even lagging slightly further behind. And even worse, the margin's lagging even further behind. I'm going to point out why I love that it shows in this scenario. And it shows your headcount is still lagging behind. You're not on track to grow your headcount enough to hit your goals. And it's important to see this right here, because if you're a leader, You have to know where are you at today, where are you likely to end up, so you know how much work you have to do to bridge the gap. Am I right?
100%. And my favorite thing about them, Dan, is when they do get to 100%, which of course is a feat, they turn green. And that's what I tell everybody I talk to. I said, the goal, get them green.
That's it, man. Green rings. That's what we're shooting for right there.
Get them
So
green. Yeah.
what's really cool and how these dials correspond with the graph down here is this will actually show you where you're at. It has the shaded area that aligns with what you've actually done year to date. The blue is your actual performance. So you can see as we sit here in March, this company has outperformed their goal, which is fantastic. And a lot of agencies would be like, holy cow, we beat our March goal. The year is looking good. We're on track to close it out. What's great about this is the analysis that we do can actually pick up anomalies in the data when we forecast this out. And you can see that just because you beat March doesn't necessarily mean you're on track to win the year. It looks like you're going to start falling apart in, kind of Q2 and start deviating slightly when it comes to billing. And you're going to finish the year a little bit down, which is indicative of this, 75%. Now, this is what I love. And obviously you got the toggles here. You can see the billing and the payroll and the margin. What I like about this is with the billing, it shows, hey, we're going to miss by a little bit. And this seems like a small gap right here. It's still a miss, but it's small. You go to margin, that's a big gap. And what leaders need to be aware of is this gap right here comes out of net profit. And that is no good. If you're going to miss your margin goal by this much, you need to know that back in March or April so you can fix it. You don't want to figure that out next January that you missed your margin goal by that much. So that's what I love about this is that you can actually quickly see where are you likely to end up the year. And then obviously the kind of the quick look on the side just shows you where are you trending? Are you growing week to week in billing? Are you're declining a little bit as you indicates on the average hours here? You can see really quick glance what's working, what's not. As a leader, this is where you want to have a quick glance and be like, okay, what needs my attention, right? We only have so much bandwidth, so much energy, so much resources, and we have to make sure it's focused in the areas that need our attention so we can have the greatest impact to achieve success. We don't want to waste time dealing with something that doesn't need our attention. So that's why I like the red and green. So it shows week to week what's working and what's not. Any feedback that you're getting from clients that you're implementing this for, that when they look at the dashboard?
Um, Not so much on this page. I've been getting positive feedback that it clearly illustrates kind of the same journey that you're trying to take people through with your tracker for those who are familiar with both. Of course, the visual representation is a plus to those that aren't as Excel friendly. Um, but I think that from here, going on to the next page, I don't want to get ahead of you. What I love is, of course, this is looking big picture, down the road. Where are we going? Most of the feedback has been coming on where am I at now?
I'm going to jump to that next page in a second, but I do got to call out one piece of feedback that we both got this week unsolicited from a customer that's been using the Excel tracker for years. And they basically, as part of their operating system, they use it to create their strategic plan every year. They use it to identify, challenges and address them. And we just found out that the CFO has loved it and has used it and has shared it operation weekly for years. And the ops team has actually not really been using it to look at. They take the advice, they take the insights, but they're not actually opening the tool up. They're not actually like plugging data in because, as you said, it's intimidating. And they were like, we love this. Now that we can just log into this and see, they use it all the time, which I think brings us to this feedback here, which is for the sake of the people watching this for the first time, this is the KPI dashboard. This is like your metrics, right? These are the 12 data points that you got to be tracking, week in and week out to see where you're at. In our model, and I want to hear your feedback in a second, but in our model, when we set a forecast, when you basically set your goal at the beginning of the year, it's going to create a forecast and we show you week to week to week exactly where you need to be. And then we show you if you're there or not. As an example, this company was supposed to be at 129,000 or 121,950 in billing. They're at 130. They're good. They do not need to focus attention on this. And this little indicator shows they're growing. Okay. not a problem area. You do not need to figure this out. However, margin, this is a problem. You know, they were supposed to be at 21K in margin this week. They only are at 17 and they're declining. That's like a double whammy red. So this is like, okay, there's something going on here. And you can see all of these data points. If you're a leader, these are the things that you need to be intimately aware of. However, you don't have the time in your schedule to do a deep dive in every single one of these. You've got to know, where am I doing my root cause analysis? And if I'm the leader of this company, I'm going to be looking at my margin per hour. There's clearly something going on with the gross profit, gross margin. It could be markups, could be riskier business with comp. You know, I'm going to be looking at hours and my ultimate value. Like, these are the areas I'm going to be looking at and trying to solve for to get back on track. But what feedback have you been getting on this page here?
Um, I would say mainly that, well, first of all, week at a glance, that's great for like a Monday morning. That was feedback I've been getting, right? Like
Yeah.
the long-term stuff is cool to see for strategic planning going forward, maybe even, in meetings when you're preparing for it. But they wanted to know Monday morning, I come in, I want to know what's going on. This is the page. Um, a second thing that I've been asked is top right, you see how it says week 13?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is showing last week's data. The potential to look back and see as it changes over time is something we're entertaining for, a future update. But for now, we're purely analyzing the week that you just closed out. So those are the two main pieces of feedback I've been getting.
Yeah. No, and the main reason that we do that we show that week is because that's really where your narrow focus should be initially. We will provide that look back ability in the future. But right now, if you're a leader, like, you got to look at what's going on in your business right now and you got to make quick decisions, especially
Mhm.
here if your margins go in the wrong direction. Because we all know this, your billing can hit target, but if your margin doesn't, you look great on paper, but not in profit, right? And with no money, there's no mission. And this is why we showcase this example to show that this has to get corrected. But the thing that I think we put some of the most work into is this next tab. And this is where we're getting tremendous feedback. I was actually, I showed this earlier today to a software company and also to one of the industry's leading trainers, and they were like blown away by our insights tab. And I'm just going to hit refresh just to show this, because what's going to happen as we hit insights, you're going to see this go to work. And let me tell you what's happening. This is not a canned process. We have your data in here comparing against your specific goals. So our insights tool is actually analyzing all of that data, analyzing what's going on, and it's going to tell you specifically what you should be addressing, right? So here it's like your average markup is greater than your markup target, but a problem has risen indicative of a workers' compensation or employment issue, right? So it's showing you, hey, our billing is good above payroll, but margin's not. So there's something going on there. And this might actually just narrow it down to say, you know what, if our billing and payroll is, it might be an unemployment issue. It might be a workers' compensation issue. And you need to get out in front of that because those are longer term cycles to fix, right? You know, review your orders, might be taking on riskier positions that equate to a higher workers' compensation cost. You know, if you're like me and you've got multiple branches and people out there taking on business, the market might be dictating where you're going and you might end up taking more costly business. This might require you to adjust your pricing structure and say, hey, we actually need to increase our markups on these businesses so we still hit that same target gross margin per hour. So this is just an example. It tells you where your headcount is. So this is tailored to you. This is, no one else is going to get the same exact message as you because it's specific to your agency, and it will help your leaders really figure out where do they need to focus their efforts to solve the problem or remove the impediments that stand between your producers and success. So what's your feedback been on this? Because this is a bit cutting edge.
Um, Nothing but positive reviews. And it's actually perfect because on that last page where it was showing you where you're at now, what you did last week, the question that always comes there is, so what do I do about it? I see the red and green boxes. What action do I take? And that's why I love the journey from big picture to the now to the what do I do. This insights tab has been great. There have been questions coming in surrounding, like what's making it think this or what interpretation is this coming from. And as I think you've mentioned, it's a trained AI model that we've been working on based on just logic that you've shared with me over time, Dan, and your experience running businesses. And I think it's great because it's not only reading the data year to date that they're sending in against the future projected values, but it's also identifying potential immediate issues like the case that we see here.
Yeah. And I've gotten that feedback. People also like that it sort of sounds like me. One piece of feedback that I got that was self-affirming is like, now let's crush this week! Exclamation point. They're like, Dan, that's like when you're advising me, like that's how you sound when you're talking to me. I was like, yeah, like we trained this. This is not an off-the-shelf AI analytics tool. Like we spent a lot of time building out the entire logic tree and how everything works and how it's supposed to interpret it. We test to get to a precise result. And people do like this. And I'll tell you, my best analogy when it comes to staffing dashboard is it's like using GPS for your car. If you were going to take a long road trip, especially to a destination that you've never been to before, you're going to put the address in your GPS. You're going to say, hey, this is where I'm going. And it's going to plot a route. You know, it's going to twist and turns and exits and all of these things that you're going to have to follow. But as you start from where your starting point to where you want to go, you're going to run into objects on the side of the road, you know, detours, construction, police up ahead, you know, all these things that can actually throw you off your path that you need to be aware of that could change your time to destination. But at the end of the day, it's always rerouting. It's always giving you the optimal route so you know what the plan is ahead of you to get to your destination in the best, most efficient way possible. This is no different. With Staffing Dashboard, you've got the ability to put in your financial destination. And maybe it's a spot that you've never been. And you can say, hey, this is where we want to go. And it's going to plot out that route for you. And it's going to tell you the most optimal route. And you're going to run into detours because life happens and staffing is crazy, right? You're going to run into clients that cancel orders at the last minute. And you're going to run into new clients that come on that you weren't expecting. And all these things are going to happen. And it's going to keep rerouting you, telling you all the things that you need to do to get to that destination on the time that you can this year. And that's what I love about this. It's almost like GPS. But the last thing I really wanted to talk to you about, Steve, is when it comes to implementation, because we've had people, they sign up and then they schedule the intake with you. What does the implementation process for something like this look like?
So it's a pretty quick and straightforward process. Should you want to get your own version of Staffing Dashboard, of course, reach out. I'm always happy to talk. Um, but I would just require year-to-date data as well as the prior year. From there, we can determine some averages to set your baseline. And then, of course, we would also need your billing goal for the current year we're in to set all those projections measuring up against monthly targets. So as long as you have your annual billing goal for the year and all of those data points you see there, billing, payroll, margin, hours, headcount, and clients, going back to the beginning of the prior year, we can get you on in no time, 30 minutes tops.
30 minutes tops. And we can
With that sent to me ahead of course, but
yeah,
yes.
obviously, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to have the data. So
Mhm.
so implementation is super easy. All the clients that we have already on it have given high praise about what they're billing and how and what they're doing with it and how easy it is to use. So again, for those of you that are watching, just know that if you see us excited about this, we're just really proud about this. Like this is something that we've been working on for a little while, and the tools behind it is something that I've been working on for 2 decades and to help me in managing the growth of a staffing agency. And this is the culmination. This is the evolution in the next phase of all of those tools the KPI tracker has turned into staffing dashboard. So if you're interested in learning more about it, obviously you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Steve. There's a link on the page to get more information or to check it out. I would love your feedback. If there's something that you see that you love about it, please let us know. If there's something that you see, they're like, hey, there's a missed opportunity. You could have done this. We'd like to know that too, because we're trying to build something that can actually truly add value for the industry and help our leaders get better at leading their companies to growth. And that really is the goal of this. Steve, before we part ways, is there any last piece of information that you'd like to share with our audience today?
I guess just two things you said that I want to echo. One, especially on that feedback piece, like some of our early customers have already helped me, shape my understanding of what they're looking to gain at it already. So we thrive off feedback. Really never be hesitant to share any opinions that you have. And secondly, on a lighter note, you were talking about how the AI kind of resembles your voice almost.
Yeah.
That was my goal when I was working on it. I like to jokingly call it Dan More AI. So, yeah,
That's a good one. That's like a dad joke, man. I love it.
I'm getting there.
You know, there is one piece of feedback that I've actually gotten on this twice in the last 48 hours.
Okay, hit me.
The colors, blue and orange. People
Yeah.
were like, Dan, is this for the Gators because you're a Florida guy and the Gators won March Madness? And I was like, I would like to say that, even though we did do very well in the simple VMS bracket, and we used data analytics, Moneyball style, to predict a bracket that did very well. Um,
That's right.
but I go, no, actually, the colors were picked by my partner Steve, and I think that he's a New York guy, so he's got the Knicks and the Mets. I think that's where you're at with this. Is that right?
It might have been subconscious. I am a Knicks and Mets fan. I just like the blue and orange, but I guess it's the New Yorker in me. I think you're right.
So, but rest assured, if you don't like the Knicks or you don't like the Mets or you don't like the Gators or these colors, there will be options in the future to actually just to brand it to yourself. So it'll be your
Yes.
company's dashboard, your logo, your information. So it will just truly become an internal management tool for your organization to utilize to give better visibility, insights into the financial performance of your company and the operational performance, really allowing your leaders to lead better and manage better. So with that, Steve, thank you so much for jumping on and kind of helping contribute to the back end of this and sharing your insights and feedback from the early customers. And I look forward to growing this with you.
Same here, man. Thank you for having me.